Have we got anything important we need to ask Craig before we start?
Is he wearing shoes?
I am actually, yeah, I am. I've just been to a board meeting, so I thought I better get dressed up.
um, well, let's get on with it so we don't waste any more of your time. Craig, thanks for joining us. How are you fitting into life at the Sheffield Eagles right now?
Yeah, it's been great. Really good start. I think all the players are bought into what we're trying to bring in, and the effort and enthusiasm, all the stuff that you look for as a coach has been first class. So the first sort of two and a half weeks has been really good. The players are all at the same level in terms of learning stuff because everything's been sort of just changed and we've started back at scratch again. So all new players coming in and learning exactly the same things as the players that have been there for a year or 7 years. So everybody's at the same starting point, which I thought was really important to do. That's everybody's starting at exactly the same starting point as everybody else. And like I said, attitude and enthusiasm, effort wise, it's all been first class. So I can't ask any more what they've given me so far.
When you left Cass, were you wanting to get straight back into things elsewhere, or were you expecting to have a longer time off than you did?
You always, as a coach, you always want to work, but I weren't desperate to get back in at the first opportunity that came along. It had to be the right one for me. And I think, I've mentioned previously when people have asked me that when you work in that full time environment, you want to hopefully continue working there. I work in a level where the team that you're at wants to get to that level. So I think the project that we're looking at had to have some sort of ambition to it rather than just working for the sake of working in rugby. Quite happy to turn opportunities down and turn roles down if I didn't think it was the right fit for me or what I wanted to do. And if it meant that I'd have been out of rugby, then I'd have been out of rugby. I've had a proper job before, and I weren't scared of getting a proper job again. So the right project had to be there for me, and I think it was. When I spoke to Sheffield about this, and they're saying all the right things, and I think there's certainly a lot of ambition at Sheffield, and there's certainly a lot of scope for improvement and development within the club as well.
How much have you had to change? You mentioned that everybody's starting off the same hymn sheet, if you like, and clearly the coach they've had under Mark has been there a very, very long time and presumably did things his own way. Was that a conscious decision from your point of view?
Well, not just because it would a changeover from Mark to me. I think as a head coach coming in, you want to put your own stamp on whatever team it is and whatever sort of players that you've got there. But I certainly think when the significant impact that Mark's had at the club over a huge number of years, I think it was going to be a difficult transition for anybody coming in. So I thought for me. I could have come in and left everything exactly the same. All the calls could have stayed exactly the same, and all the sort of structures could have been exactly the same. Just because we're probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks late coming in, and it's a real short pre-season for us now going into the games. So the easy thing for me would have been to say, right, we'll just play how you've always played, and I'll sort of adapt to that, and that's going to be the easiest sort of transition to do. But I didn't think that was the right thing to do. I thought we need to make a fresh start and change everything. So, like I said, everybody were at the same starting point, and none of the new players coming in were trying to get up to speed as quickly as they needed to because everybody else knew what was happening. So I thought it was really important, certainly for me to come in and put my own stamp on things, but also for all players to be at the same starting point so they could help themselves through. And when you're in that stage, you sort of develop your own little bit of an identity as a team, and you develop that team spirit and that camaraderie as well. So, that's been developing over the first two and a half weeks as well.
You mentioned you were a little bit behind other teams in starting pre-season because of obviously the arrangements finally coming together. Have you had a say in recruitment and retention as well, and are things sort of squad-wise where you'd like them to be?
I'd like to bring some more people in. Yeah, no, I think we're light in certain areas. We've only got two halfbacks at the club and one fullback at the club. So if any of them goes down, then we're playing people out of position straight away. We also need that competition for places in them positions as well. I think longer term, we need to refresh us outside backs. We've got outside backs that are 35, 36, 37. So looking at longer term, or the project look at the longer term, we need to make sure that we're regenerating and refreshing them sort of areas as well. But in the main, I think we've got a fairly strong squad. Just need to add maybe two or three individuals in, and if it means that that we can do that, then ideally we will do. A lot of the recruitment, or the majority of the recruitment's already been done previously. So I think the Sheffield one of the teams that have done most of their recruitment before the end of last season. So it was pretty settled recruited squad already. So yeah, I'd like a little bit of movement there to bring a few more people in, and we'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks with that.
You're stepping into some fairly big shoes, then, in Mark Aston's. How have you dealt with that so far?
How do you deal with that? I guess it's a little bit different level, but I guess you maybe think of it as somebody coming in to replace Alex Ferguson or Arsene Wenger at football. So people who've been at a club and they're ingrained in the culture of that club for so long, it is going to be difficult, and it is going to be a difficult transition. The players that have been here under Mark, signed for Mark, and want to play under Mark, and there's a lot of players that have been here for quite a considerable amount of years. His son's in the team as well, so you've got that aspect to consider as well. So, I didn't think it was going to be as easy as a transition as it has been so far. So the players have made it a lot easier than what it potentially could have been. And their professionalism within that has certainly helped the transition be quite smooth so far. So. It's been good. It's been a lot easier than what I'm gonna be expecting. The week that I took over, I met Mark as well. We had a good couple of hours together, and we sat down, had a coffee, and chilled about a lot of stuff. And a lot of it weren't about Sheffield. A lot of it was just about rugby league in general and life in general. So that was good as well. There weren't any muddy waters anyway. But if there were any slightly muddy waters, then it were good just to get everything out in the open. And I've always had a good working relationship with Mark. Whenever I've come across him as an opposition coach, we've always had a good chat and a very professional relationships, and I can't see that changing. And hopefully, as the season progresses, and even next year and the year after, we can work very closely together for the benefit of the club.
It must be quite helpful because obviously there's no one who knows more about rugby league in Sheffield and the surrounding area than Mark Aston.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And everything within the club, it's Mark's done. Mark sorted everything out. He's arranged everything, and maybe that's been a little bit of a teething problem in the first couple of weeks, that now other people having to do stuff that Mark used to do, and they've maybe not been used to doing that in the past. So other people getting additional roles that they need to do, and Mark then can concentrate on the stuff that he needs to do in the background with his ambassador role and the sponsorship and things like that. So he's now getting his teeth fully into that to benefit Sheffield in a different way to what has already benefited him historically in the past.
Is this a different challenge for you? Because obviously you've had clubs like Keighley and Batley who are very much rooted in their community. You know exactly who the fan base is, what's expected of the club. This is a big city club, which could be anything. There's big plans on the board for moving to a new stadium. There's no secret that Super League is on the agenda if they can fulfil all the criteria. So is this a different challenge for you in that respect?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I think wise it's different as well. When I were at Batley, we were always in the bottom two of financial spend of budget spend. This is a little bit different. I think we because of where Sheffield is, and it's a little bit of travel to get here to Sheffield, and we need to pay players a little bit more to get them down there, and they've got the opportunity to do that, and it maybe opens up the player pool a little bit to what I've had in the past within the Championship as well. But certainly the ambition within the club of wanting to develop and wanting that long-term aim, that long-term ambition of hopefully going back into full-time rugby and Super League rugby, it's certainly something that attracted me to this project, to this club. So it is something that I've never experienced before, never worked with before. But you never experience something until you've experienced it, do you? So it's everything's a new experience until you have experienced it. And I've previously I've worked in periods where clubs been in administration. I've been at clubs under different circumstances where other things have happened. So it's just something else to add to the CV. I get some experience.
In terms of the Championship this year, there doesn't seem to be a standout team. So, whereas in the past, obviously last year, Wakefield won everything in front of them. We've had Toronto when they were in the division. Toulouse have been full-time and everybody else part-time. Seems a very even field this year.
Yeah, I think it's spread out more evenly than what it has been. I think if you look at maybe recruitment of players, you'd probably say that Bradford are up there right at the top with the players that they've recruited, with the experience that they've got and the quality players that they've got. The Oldham have recruited extremely well as well. With from League One, and they're certainly not resting on their laurels. They're wanting to make a significant impact on the division as well. But then you've got usual suspects, aren't you? Featherstone are recruiting and spending a bit of money as well. York are looking very strong and solid. Widnes will be what Widnes always are, and then Toulouse, they could be anything as well. You don't know what's happening with Toulouse in terms of their finance and recruitment, and whether their budget's going to be reduced because of the sponsorship from the council that they get. And then you've got several other teams that could be strong as well. So I think it's a really competitive division, and as you said, I don't think there's maybe too many standout teams that you put at the top of the pedestal, and it's probably more open than what it has been in recent years.
We've seen in Sheffield as a city, obviously two massive football clubs. There's an ice hockey team that gets thousands of people every week. How do the Eagles fit into that? And is it part of this, where the club have got the women's team and the wheelchair team, and they really make that one club philosophy? Is that how Sheffield Eagles can become a bigger part of the city's sporting culture?
Yeah, that's probably not my job. That's probably somebody else at the club that needs to answer that. All I can do is prepare the team as best as I can and try and get a winning team on the field. And we all know that if you get a winning team on the field, then you're more likely to get more supporters coming through the gate. I think what Sheffield have always done really well in the past is the commercial side of it, with the recruitment of sponsors and significant sponsors to the club as well. If we can get that um, aspect to get more people through the gate and develop the attendance, which then generates more income as well. I think that's probably more Mark's job rather than mine now. I think that's probably going to fall on his toes a little bit now, and that'll be his department now to try and get more and more people through the gate and generate that finances. But certainly I can help that, and we can help that as a team by winning games and getting us out of the league as we can, and hopefully getting back to Wembley like they did last year.
What lessons did you take from the year in charge at Castleford?
Resilience, I guess. I know at the start of the season it was going to be a difficult year. It was going to be a tough 12 months, and you prepare yourself as much as you can for that. But some of the experiences, I talked about experience previously, some of the experiences that you have that you've never had before, and you're in a situation that you've never had that before, and you've got to learn how to handle certain things and deal with things. I've never had that, I guess, that intense media spotlight on me day in, day out as we had last season. And you might get a bad beat in a game and you get dragged in front of the camera and the microphone stuck in your face when you're trying to be as honest as you can and as professional as you can be, and maybe saying some things that you shouldn't do and trying to learn from that. But I've always got myself into trouble that way. Some people ask me a question and I've always got to be honest, or as honest as I possibly can be, and that's probably one of my downfalls, I guess. But the whole year were really, as bad for me as it ended with me losing my job. I really enjoyed the whole experience of being in that environment for 12 months and developing them players and working under the restrictions that we had at the club, and 19 debuts at any club in any season it just shows you the sort of transition that club had, and if Castleford can kick on now, hopefully I've played a little bit of a part in the start of that process that they can hopefully continue.
Personally, do you take a lot of pride from the fact that everybody used words like dignity and integrity when you did leave Castleford?
Yeah, you try and hold yourself and behave in the way that you want to behave. I don't think you can be anything that you're not. I'm not a good enough actor to be anything that I'm not for long enough. So what you see with me is ultimately what I am. And if I am a little bit too honest at times, it might get me into trouble. But people ask me a question, I'll give them a straight answer. But you try and be respectful. You try and be humble. Like one of the words I used at the start of last season at Castleford, we needed to be humble. The other two were honest and hardworking. And that's what I try and portray myself as. That's what what some of my values are, and hopefully that reflects in the teams that I've coached in the past. And I think you've got to give your time up, and you've got to give your I guess I don't know how to word it really, but just make time for people that come and pay through the gate. A lot of people, certainly at a club like Castleford, the rugby club, it's ingrained in them, it's ingrained in the town, and that's what Castleford is. It's rugby, and I think people work all week and then they end up going down there at the week on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday, whatever day they're playing now, and that's what they look forward to all week. And if I can walk around at the end of the game and spend half an hour taking photographs and having chats and doing whatever I need to do there, I think that we've got a responsibility to do that, to recognise the time and the effort and the money and the commitment that the supporters put in there, and hopefully my time at Castleford can be can be remembered by something like that, and I'm always open for conversations, and I always will be. And if I get back down to Castleford this season, I still will be as well.
In terms of Sheffield, obviously the season petered out last year. Really disappointing end to miss out on the playoffs on points difference. Has that fueled the hunger of the guys that are still there and the squad as a whole?
I think so. I think it's identified within them as well, the areas of weakness that they had last season, the areas of improvement that they need to make. Hopefully we're gonna make a few little changes in how we train them, and make them be able to be stronger for longer and compete for longer as well. I think one of the things I think that people spoke about Sheffield last year was that if you got into a bit of an arm wrestle with them, they crumble, or they break quite easily, and hopefully we can change that mentality in and around training with them this year. And that's one of the things that the players have said themselves, that they were just too easy to get beat once it got a little bit tough last season. So, they've identified that within themselves, that they need to be better, they need to change that, and hopefully we can put them in certain situations within training, put them under a little bit of duress, put them under a little bit of fatigue, and test them in them certain situations, and we'll see what we get. We'll see. We always see what players give you when to put under the pump, rather when things are going well. And that's how we're trying to train them now, to put them into them sort of adversity type situations within training, to see how they react. And I think it's human nature, when you get into a situation where you're struggling a little bit, you put a bubble around yourself, and your initial instinct is to look after yourself. Now we need to make that bubble bigger and put it around the team rather than the individuals, and hopefully we can start doing that with the stuff that we're doing in training, and showing them the benefits of doing that as well. So we're trying to increase them bubbles that people have got around themselves at the minute, to drag the mates either side, and then widen the bubble even further from that. So hopefully we can make them a little bit more resilient this year than they were last year.
When you look at the season as a whole going forward, how important is the 1895 Cup and, well, the Challenge Cup as well, in terms of there's no automatic promotion relegation? You obviously want to finish as high as possible and win the Championship Grand Final, but that carrot of getting back to Wembley, and obviously you were a coach there a couple of years ago, how important is that competition in this current era of rugby league?
It's really important. It's a realistic aim and a realistic ambition for Championship clubs to achieve. Sheffield have been there a couple of times over the last few years, so it's something that they want to make a real concerted effort to do, and get back there and hopefully win it. So we're certainly going to use it, the competition that we want to win. It's not going to be used as an extended friendly, or an extended warm-up game. We're going out there to try and win the competition. Whether we do or not is a different matter, but we're certainly going to go out there and give it 100% to try and get back to Wembley and trying to win that trophy. The players have been there; some of them have been there twice, and they want to have a real good dig at getting back to Wembley as well. And Sheffield, I guess, is Sheffield and Wembley it goes a little bit hand in hand, doesn't it? Since the 1998 Cup final, on it, so it's something that's always ingrained in Sheffield's history, is Wembley. So if we can play a part in getting Sheffield back to Wembley and hopefully winning a trophy, then that'll be a real good achievement for us.
How long into that chat with Mark Aston was it until he mentioned that?
Actually, no, I didn't. No, no, not once.
Are you planning on dual registration? How are you going to extend the squad? Because you mentioned that it might be light in a couple of positions.
We've not had any conversation with clubs regarding dual reg. Dual reg is one of them things. It's like Marmite, isn't it? Some people love it, some people hate it. I've got no opinion really either way. I can see the benefit of it. So the dual reg works well if you know that you're going to get certain players on a more regular basis. I'm not a fan of the dual reg where you might get a player that comes in for one game who's a star player at another club, and they're coming back from injury, so I'll stick him into a team for one game. I think the dual reg for me, it needs to work where maybe come for a period of a couple of weeks, a bit like a longer term loan rather than a weekly thing. I think that needs to be done, and I think now with the loans, I think the loan period now needs to go. I'd put the loan period back up to at least a month or 6 weeks now. Then you commit into that player, and you commit into the club that you're sending them out to for a development period rather than the 2 week loan period that came in during COVID. I think, why do we need a 2 week loan period now when you've got dual reg and you can get people week to week? So there's no need for that 2 week loan period for me. But we've not had conversations about dual regging with the Super League club. If that conversation comes up, I don't even know who's available to dual reg with anymore, to be fair, because haven't looked into it. But if we have to go into the loan market either at the start of the season or mid-season, we potentially can do that. But at the minute, we'll give the chance to the players that we've got that are doing pre-season with us.
Have you had a chance to assess the talent in South Yorkshire? Because again, another thing that this is different perhaps to the traditional areas that you've coached in. This is development. Have you had a chance to see who's coming through and whether there might be a couple of names that we've never heard of yet that you're quite excited about either bringing?
No, not as yet. No, not as yet. I've not sort of asked any questions about that or looked into that as yet. My sole aim for the minute is getting prepped for the season, which is coming around really quickly. Our first film is on the 10th of January, so we need to focus on the first team at this moment in time. Hopefully, once I get my feet under the table and we get into some sort of routine and regularity, then I can maybe expand my vision around the amateur scene and the kids coming through and speak to people within the community again about that. But at this moment in time, I'm fully focused on getting the first team ready for championship season.
Fully focused then. But what does a professional coach do over the Christmas period? Are you sat there eating your turkey and thinking, well, what would this combination work? Or what about this play? Are you able to switch off at any point?
You try to, but it's difficult. It is, honestly. You're constantly going through training regimes and what you need to cover, what you've not covered, the games that are coming up, the players that might be available, the players that you need to play in certain positions, the different sort of rotations and combinations that you need to try as well. So it is difficult to switch off, especially when you've got everything on your phone now. Your emails are on there, your text messages, your WhatsApp groups are pinging, your phone's going as well. So it is very difficult to switch off. But hopefully over Christmas time we can have that little bit of a period where we at least have a couple of days off, certainly over Christmas Day. But Boxing Day, I'll probably catch a game up on Boxing Day as well. I'll probably go to a Dewsbury game on Boxing Day and maybe treat my wife and take her up there as well. But I'm sure she'll want to go.
You old romantic.
I know.
What's your Christmas film of choice?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I like Elf. I've got to admit, I do like Elf. Kids like the Home Alones, and so any sort of historic Home Alone film or any historic Christmas film, some sort of traditional, like traditional films. I guess maybe Elf is becoming a little bit of a traditional film, isn't it? And question for you then: Christmas films, is Die Hard a Christmas film?
I'd say not, but apparently that's not conventional opinion.
When we studied it at college, and it is a Christmas film. So
there you go.
That's my tutor said so it has to be.
Yeah, I'd say not, because it was released in July. I think it's been adopted as a Christmas film. It was released in July, and Die Hard 2 were released in August as well. So neither of them for me are a Christmas film. But it won't stop me watching it over Christmas.
What about Christmas Record?
These are the hardest questions, aren't they? This is
you could have prepped me for these before.
No. We love spontaneity, so it's easy to pick your squad for the first game. But what's the best Christmas record?
It is. I tell you what, it is. Oh God!
There's the thumbnail.
Must be Santa Claus.
Bob Dylan,
and it is Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Now the answer is "Hey, Mr. Christmas," but we won't argue about that.
I've never even heard of that.
Go and put it on YouTube now. You'll love it, I swear.
Right.
Have we run out of Christmas questions now?
I'm sorry, that's just the garbage.
That's okay. Craig, very best of luck at Sheffield. I'm sure we'll down to Sheffield.
Yeah.
So it's always a nice place to go, especially in the summer. Good luck for the championship. Good luck with the new job and fitting in and everything and finding your new players. And we'll catch up with you again in 2025.
Thank you very much, gents. Catch you soon.
Brilliant.
So it's all the best bit is the ones you weren't expecting.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Shawaddy Waddy, hey Mr. Christmas.
Hello, Richard Shorett here from the Forty20 Rugby League podcast. Now, do you like darts? What do you mean? No, everyone loves darts now. It's popular again. That lad who got to the world final and he wins stuff and he's from Warrington. Anyway, would you like some exclusive 4020 live darts flights? Of course you would. Even if you don't like darts, I'll throw them. They're a great memento of your favourite Rugby League podcast. What do you mean you prefer James Graham's? Anyway, all I want you to do to get hold of a set of darts flights, that's 3 of them because you have 3 darts, is make a donation to the Leeds Children's Heart Surgery Fund. I'll stick a link somewhere on the video. I'll put a QR code there. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Send me your details via social media. You can find 4020 everywhere. You know where we are. And I will send you in the post a set of exclusive 4020 live darts flights, unless we run out, and then I'll order some more, and then they'll be slightly less exclusive. 4020 and darts at Christmas. What more could you want? Unless it's after Christmas, and then, just if you want some, just get in touch.